So okay, let's
Yeah.
begin to look at it. So let's look at the first part. It says, I am a universal divine being. Okay, what does that mean, Lee, in your beautiful, articulate way? I am a
It means
universal divine being, and also put it in layman's terms, if you will, the simplicity. What does it mean?
it means you're a being of the universe that is divine. You're the ultimate authority to yourself. There is nothing outside of you that has any higher authority. It takes away the ideas of sovereignty. It takes away the ideas of self-governing and autonomous. It simply states that is you are a universal divine being of, we can take it into the higher, into creation, spark of creation, a God, however you wish to envision this from
The
your own
God
perspective.
within? Yeah, the God
Pardon?
within, the
God
God-given
within,
rights,
the
intrinsic
Christed light,
value is
all
all
of these
included.
things are included within that universal divine being. The point that what Rick is trying to say is for me to give a perspective on it, but my perspective isn't yours. So my perspective is a little bit metaphysical and a lot more into that area. It's what it means to each and every one that states it. So
Now, with
this is
this,
about the divine authority. This is I am a universal divine being is divine authority.
now this is already outlined upon the planet, in such things as the UN Declaration of Human Rights, when they say everyone is born free and no slavery, and what have you. But the point that I'm making here is that this simple sentence is all inclusive, it's all powerful, it is absolute, as well as establishing those full intrinsic rights, if you will, in this reality and upon the planet. And as Lee says, it's incontestable, and it's incontestable for one reason, because it is already upon the planet. It was just distorted in the way that it was. So what we are doing is also refining it, as Lee said, through the process to make it even more powerful, just as words, but also energetically.
It goes further. When you take it further, you can take it into I am a universal divine being. It adds a lot more. It covers whatever it needs, whatever the levels of consciousness require it to cover for what it is that they can perceive and perspect with this. We don't need to break it down. It's a statement. I am is the statement. The rest of it, universal divine being, is just part of that statement. So we could have just said this as I am, but there's a little bit more that we've added to this. And then we've gone into the next step is a divine delegation. Now, not delegate, but delegation. Again, that's for others to have their perspective of. As we can become a universal nation inside GPMS, then we are a delegation of universal natural law. What does that mean? Now, we're not going to define it because that, again, should not need definition. And what we didn't do as well is leave it at universal. We didn't make it divine. We just left it universal natural law. And when that is defined to anybody that wishes to define it, it simply means do no harm. Now that's to yourself and to another. Now how another takes that is up to themselves. But again, this is about perspective, and we're not dealing with perspective. We're dealing with facts and actuality. So a divine delegation of universal natural law stipulates do no harm. So this is what I am, a divine being, and I do no harm. Bang, bang. Now, absolute unalienable rights of self-determination, absolute unalienable, cannot be given away, cannot be taken away, unalienable, absolute, of self-determination. That's determination of the self. Now, we've already proclaimed and decreed here that we do no harm. So there's no reason to extrapolate what moral and ethicals. We don't need to put those in because we stipulated we do no harm inside the natural law, universal natural law. So absolute unalienable rights of self-determination is your choice as to what you do with no impedance and no restrictions upon that from another, including the system.
So
this also covers the system which can't impede you, which is travel, which is freedom of expression, freedom of unity, and all of these which inside do no harm. So all of these work with each other to create the boundaries for absolute freedom from any restriction, regulation, non-benevolent control systems, disparity of income and wealth and poorness and sickness, and all of these concepts, they're all gone when we look at do no harm. And the divine being, everybody's a divine being, introduces the equality. So everybody's equal. This is why it's all encompassing. But I'll stop there for a second and let others speak.
what I just wish to add, so it is the highest lawful morality. So it cannot be infringed upon, and it's important that this is moral. It's morality as well to enter in there. I was going to say something else in that respect, but moral is lawful. So when you have the most purest absolute morality, it cannot be contested nor opposed by anything lesser. And also in this respect, what you have upon the planet is legal systems and capitalistic, all of that does harm. And as Leah stated, in what we say is, the highest morality of absolute unalienable rights and self-determination is to simply do no harm, do not affect it in any way. So with this, the old system does, for example, it creates poverty and wealth disparity, as Lee has said, so it's not equal as well. And so having said that, any legal fiction cannot contend with it. There is no contest, there is no argument, there is no reasoning with it. And again, when we look at delegation, it is everything inclusive of, all inclusive of GPMS, what it does for the people. It does no harm, the whole GPMS. And this is part of that delegation, that moral delegation of GPMS.
Again, you can see from this, 2 seconds, Dean, you can see from this that it's a bit like GPMS in the way that it's written. It doesn't need to describe itself. It needs others to define it in the current system that we've got. But what it's written to is not in the current system that we've got. It's not taking that into account. It's a statement without that system being there. This is what we are. I am. Now we've got to bring it back to that system, and this is what Rick's talking to about legalities and all the rest of it. Now we can describe it and define it, and this is where that transitionary step is. Go ahead, Dean.
So